So I just wanted to do a quick overview on the control panel. The very first thing, we got this HMI. So this is going to be where you control and kind of set each station, and a lot more. So if you want to view, so first thing we'll cover is the statistics page. It's going to tell you your batch count, your total cycles. So your total cycles is never going to reset. That's going to be for the life of the machine. And then we can reset our batch count. If I run it here real quick, you see it counts. So right there, the reason why it's showing 2 rejected on station 7 is because it's failing the crack check die, okay? So then you can see right here, if you go back to your main page, station 7 reject. Now we can reset it right there, or we can reset it right here, and that'll disappear and I can run it again. So the other thing we can do is just reset our batch as well, and it'll reset our all the stations. So on the next one, we got the VFD. So you can enter whatever, however fast you want to go. Max speed is going to be 64 parts per minute, which equals 3840 rounds per hour. That can we can change that if you would like. There's different gear ratios we can put on the motor and really meet the application that you're wanting. But this is a pretty good all-around gear ratio. And so then the next one is going to be your setup page. So the cycle timeout. The cycle timeout is going to be your basically it's just protecting your clutch. So we don't want to burn up our clutch. And so if there's a jam, it's going to hit, and it's not going to cycle the top position sensor or the bottom position sensor. And so if they don't cycle, in this case, within 3 seconds, it's going to turn that off, and I can go through and change that number to whatever I want it to be. 3 is a pretty good number for 9mm. If you're running really a lot slower, like on cutting down 300 blackout, then you're going to move that to 5 or 6. And so the other nice thing is we can go into our inputs page. And this is just going to show you all the inputs that are going into it. And I mean, it's kind of just a diagnostics page. So if we're having an issue where we're not getting a reading, we can see to make sure we're actually getting feedback to our HMI or our PLC in this case. And then we've also got the outputs. Outputs are going to be all there. Again, it's just diagnosing if there's an issue, right? So if you have an issue, this is one of the things you can do just to make sure you're actually getting good communication back to your PLC. And I can actually go on my outputs and press buttons and see if everything works, okay? And then we'll go back to our main. So the fun part is we go to our station 1 functions. You've got station 1 function, station 2, station 7. And I can individually set what each one of those is doing. So you've got your pass-fail mode, your reject mode, and your continuous rejects. So on our pass-fail mode, right now it's set to on equals pass, and what that means is you are having that pin sensor turn on every time at the bottom of the stroke in order to deem that case good. And so if that sensor doesn't turn on at the bottom stroke, then it's going to fail that case, and in this case it's going to reject that shell. If I do turn it to off equals pass, well, now in order for that to be deemed a good case, then I have to the sensor doesn't turn on at the bottom of the stroke. And then onto the reject mode, I have it rejecting the shell right now, but I can also just tell it to stop the machine. And it's going to stop the machine when it returns to the top of the stroke. So it'll be nice and convenient for you to just pull the case out. And then the continuous rejects is going to be how often or how many allowable continuous rejects you're going to allow before it rejects. So it's going to be how many rejects happen in a row before it just turns itself off. So in this case, it's set at 3, but you can set that number at whatever you want. And then you can do the same for each station. But you'll notice each sensor has a different function. So the pneumatic decapping system and the crack check die, their logic is going to be the on equals pass. Or a chamber check die and a reamer, theirs are going to be off equals pass. And so just gives you the versatility. And a good example for the use of that would be if you're sorting primer pockets on 45. 45 has 45 ACP has large primer and small primer. So that would be our station 2 sensor. So right now is what it's going to do in its current configuration is it's going to allow large primer pockets to pass, and then it's going to reject small primer pockets. Now if we want to reverse that, we can actually go through and put on equals pass. So now it's going to pass our small primer pockets and it's going to reject our large primer pockets. It's just a neat feature. It kind of just proves the versatility of the press. I think you'll find that this press will get used for lots of things that I never even anticipated, just because the logic is already set up for it. So yeah, I hope this answers your questions on kind of what this machine is capable of on the HMI side. I'll do some other videos kind of going in depth on the other mechanics, and yeah, hope if you have any questions, just yeah, always reach out. Thanks.